It was heartbreak at Optus Stadium on Saturday as the Kangaroos held off against our Eagles with a late surge. The last 10 matches between these two sides have been decided by an average margin of just 9 points, so we knew we were in for a cracker. Unfortunately, not on the right side of the result.
There's a lot to like, though. Looking forward to covering the highs and lows of this weekend's game, providing the latest updates on the injuries and taking a look at how things are tracking going into the bye.
Yes, Golden Wingers, it's good to be back in studio. Unfortunately, after a nail-biting game, Rhino's just off the plane from Adelaide, mate. Thank you for joining us again this week. How was it over there?
Oh, it's awesome, mate. I've never been to Adelaide. I was pretty excited to go there, and honestly, the city's tiny. I went there expecting just to be a bit bigger than Perth. No, it's smaller than Perth. The CBD is pretty tiny. There's not really any massive buildings going around. The biggest buildings are the universities and stuff, and pretty cool. And Adelaide Oval is a sick place. Highly recommend. Whoever's not gone to Adelaide Oval is unbelievable place. So cool.
You were there for the
Sydney Port Adelaide game. Yeah, that was a pretty good game actually. Only 3 points in it.
Chad Warner running around.
Yeah, I was screaming in the stands, "Come home, Chad! Come home, Chad!" And even Georgiades, that guy's a beast, dude.
That's a great shout.
Watching that guy, he carries that forward line for Port. He's actually, his body work and his presentation work he's unbelievable stuff.
Unreal. The thought of him and Jake Waterman in the same forward line, maybe next year, probably the year after.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. Hey, did you catch the game?
I did catch the game. I was at a little restaurant in Adelaide when I first catch the game, and then I watched it the day after. And yeah, it's obviously a tough watch, far out. But it's just good to see that we're in these close matches. If we're thinking back 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, 4 months, we wouldn't be expecting to be in these fucking close matches in these games. And I think there's probably about 8 games where we could win and we could be really in that wild card sort of bracket. And so it's just good to see that we're in these games.
Well, just on that, for a bit of perspective, the last 2 weeks, obviously, we probably should have won those games. We had opportunities to late in the dying stages of the last quarter. So that would have sent us into the bye at 6 and 8 on equal points with St Kilda for a wildcard spot.
Yeah.
If we nab a game against Richmond or a game against Collingwood, we'd be in the wildcard.
That's right.
As it stands, going into the mid-season bye, which everyone would have said was a glowing success. So there is a valid argument that it has worked out for the best in a way, as we've seen all of the growth without getting the wins, and we still have our hands firmly on a top 3 pick in what is going to be a crucial draft for the footy club in this rebuild. So we've sort of had the best of both worlds, if you can put it that way, but obviously no one likes to watch the club lose. Let's talk about it though, mate. Jake Waterman's goal kicking has been a snowballing issue all year, and it's bloody tough to see him struggling in the big moments. I'm sure that our audience aren't a part of the problem, but we hate to hear that people are sending through online abuse to AFL players or anyone for that matter. And if that's you, pull your head in.
Pull your head in. All right, seriously, this guy just does his best every single game. You can tell he's frustrated. He doesn't need anybody else telling him what he's doing wrong. He knows what he's doing wrong, and it's just a matter of time before it starts to click for Jake. He's such a great player, and I want to bring up this stat, mate, because we found this before the show, and it's a great find, and it's true, and people need to start paying attention to the stuff he's doing, not just with his shots at goal, but his off-ball stuff. And this guy is actually leading the competition in score involvements behind the Chad Warner, who we all love and adore over from the Sydney Swans. He's leading it with 111 score involvements, and that's
as a key forward.
As a key forward in the comp,
at the moment.
Yeah, that's something you wouldn't heard of. Obviously the Jeremy Cameron types and the Logan Morrises, these guys are tall forwards and they can provide opportunities, but you never hear in the media talking about how Jake Waterman provides opportunities for his teammates and the stuff he does off the ball. All we're hearing is that he's missing shots at goal, but he's actually setting up his teammates with goal opportunities as well, and that needs to be stated because it's so vitally important to his game. His game is not just taking marks and shooting goals. He actually provides opportunities for his teammates, and if you can let him off with a few misses at goal, but if he's providing his teammates with opportunities to score, then he's helping his case, and he's doing other things that other players actually aren't doing for our side
Oh,
as well.
absolutely. You take him out of the game the last few games and we're nowhere near it. So
That's right.
I guess just to add one last opinion to the stack before we move on, and
Yeah.
I think there's been enough talk around him. I suppose it's just it is just tough to see that it is a mental problem
Yeah.
in his head. Lining up for goal, he doesn't look one bit confident. His routine's off. I saw Matthew Lloyd talking through the ball drop.
The right hand.
It's always something that he's struggled with a little bit, but it's never been this bad.
Yeah.
And you can tell for anyone that plays golf or anyone that is a full forward, you know that your set shot routine or your swing routine, you go through ebbs and flows, and when it's working, when it's not working, confidence, it's a horrible thing. And you can see after the game just how flat he is. He knows that he's cost us a couple of games, and he doesn't deserve to get a free pass for that. Yeah. But obviously we can all understand what he's going through mentally and how tough that would be, and carrying the weight of the footy club essentially the last few weeks. He'd feel horrible. So plenty of love there for Jake. He's doing absolutely everything else right. Just unfortunately probably has cost us a couple of games. But that said, I still really don't think that we should have let them back into the game before halftime.
100%.
All things being considered, we should have put them away.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't have even come down to the dying stages of the last quarter.
Yeah, there's a lot of last quarters as well. Like we can look back to last week where we scored 2 goals 6, and that opportunity goes out the window. We lose that game. And then to this week, where I think it's 3 goals 4. If we make that 4 goals 3, we win the game. And I want to bring up this stat with you, Kurt, because I found this earlier, and this is a really important one. And we think back to the past Eagles sides who were so accurate, and they had these tall forwards who could get so many scores on the boards and minimal behinds, and would have really large scores. And I digged up this stat on the weekend, and only 5 out of our 14 matches so far have we scored more goals and points in a game. And that's so vitally important that we are scoring more goals and points.
Yeah.
It put pressure on the other side, and if we're going below that 50% mark, we're really struggling. And we're not going to be able to win these clutch matches, like these close matches that we've been in the Collingwood types, the Richmond game, which I think is one of our only games we actually scored more goals and points, but we just couldn't put them away. And there's just some games where you'd like to see the reverse. So I think Fremantle was 5-11. If we make that 11-5, it's a closer game. Like stuff like that. We just need to work on our accuracy. I think our accuracy has been pretty poor all year.
For sure. And that comes down to, as I was saying to you before, also where you're getting your shots from, their defense as well, rush behinds, all that sort of thing. So how many times do we see players on their range, instead of looking for a short lead up, they just bomb it in, hoping for the best, and it gets punched over the line for a rush behind. Whereas that could have been a short stab kick into a better opportunity, or a better shot for goal, or get one of your running halfbacks running past for the handball. And these are just things that come with time and chemistry and players understanding their limits. And unfortunately, you have to make those mistakes to learn for next time. So I suppose that is just the growth that we're seeing. But as we said before, like how many times would you turn on the footy 5 or so years ago and the boys would have 7 or 8 goals on the board easily by half time and no behinds? It was such a luxury. So we can't wait to get back there. But as we said before, I understand why people are excited that we haven't won these games, despite it would have been nice to obviously get the win. But as we know, Essendon has been a 10-year case study to show that if you're not contending, you want to be down the bottom.
Do they do like a psychological report on these guys? Because it's just been so long. They need to do medical studies on Essendon Footy Club.
The problem is with Essendon, they're not finishing low enough to get their hands on a top 5 pick. And the one time they did, I think they picked up Elijah Sardis, which just hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
But it is tough to lose these games. But we have to look on the bright side and try and keep things positive. And pick 3 is looking really exciting. Keen to get into some list management chat a little bit later. I thought Harley Reid put the team on his back in that first quarter, mate. And
for sure.
Without him, we probably wouldn't have even had a score on the board, let alone leading somehow.
That's a good call. Yeah, I think he was really big. I think he obviously wins that free kick, and obviously Brodie Hoff gets slammed to the ground and he scores right in front of goal. He was just influential all throughout that first quarter, and he really set the tone for our boys going into that game. And we were really struggling, actually. North Melbourne were looking pretty good at the start of the game, and Harley put the team on his back, and he was getting physical and he was breaking down the contest. And obviously the numbers speak for themselves. I think Harley's just, obviously that first quarter is really good, but if we can get the second, third, fourth quarter at the same quality as the first quarter, I think we win that game pretty easily.
Worth noting that Jai Simpkin was running a hard tag all day. So got the better of him probably for the final 3 quarters, but he was doing that in the first quarter with a hard tag.
That's right.
From someone who is quite physical and way more experienced. So that's worth mentioning too. And getting to the mid-season bye, it's unlikely that he's not carrying some sort of niggle or he's been under a lot of he's gone through a lot of physical load this year already through the midfield. So worth mentioning on that, I thought we were absolutely nowhere for a massive chunk of that first quarter.
Yeah.
Like it was hard to watch. Our defensive setup is horrible. Skills are no good. And on top of that, so many silly free kicks as well, which just led to goals. Key defenders hanging on to arms, which is always going to be a free kick.
Always. They're always going to give that. Yeah, 100%.
But unfortunately, lack of pressure on the ball, North were getting a lot of opportunities and moving the ball with real purpose. And we know they've got some potency up forward. We had no answers for Jack Darling.
Mate, he looked like prime Jack Darling in that first half. It was ridiculous. Yeah, obviously with our 2 key defenders occupying on Nick Larkey and Trembath, this guy was just running around the park doing whatever he liked. Thought Starcevic was a bit stitched up by the coaches.
100%.
Do you reckon?
He's giving up so much size.
Yeah.
Like we know better than anyone that Jack Darling, when he's up and going, is an absolute bull. Like he's a big boy.
For sure.
Big boy. And he was just out muscling Starcevic, unfortunately. And Star's pretty strong, but when you're giving up that much height and weight and the power and the center of gravity, it's just like you can't. There's only so much you can do. So I thought that was a really strange. I can see why they went there to begin with, but the fact that they didn't change it by the time he had his 3rd or 4th big contested mark, big goal, it felt a little bit. Felt like the change was too slow to be made, especially since they were playing Sherry forward. Potentially they needed some more height to go with him. I didn't really keep track of who was matching up on who, but I definitely thought Stas was stitched up a bit there, and we know it was going to be tough without Ruben Jinbi. I think we win that game comfortably. And I said to you before, I was listening to Kane and Kingy on SCN on the way in, and they said we win the game by 5 goals if Ruben was out there. So it's high praise from them.
That's high praise. I think it's probably true. It's borderline true. I think North Melbourne were pretty good in that first quarter, but with Jimby, I think we could have had a bit more composure down back. And I think for longer periods of time, we could have rebounded off our back 50 and we could have set up a few more goals. And I do think we probably do win by 5 goals. But I want to mention this guy, Rep Bazzo. I think he took a really big step forward. He was awesome. I think he got 9 intercepts for the day. A big intercept mark in the last quarter. You're just starting to see the development of Rep Bazzo. Obviously, copped some criticism in his earlier years, but you just got to think he was a young player in probably the worst side in the competition.
Absolutely.
He was thrown into the WAFL. Like, he's a key back. These guys take a long time to develop, and you're just starting to see the goods that we're going to get with Baz.
As a young key back coming in to, as you said, one of the worst sides in history, that early 2020s West Coast.
Horrible.
It's a humiliation ritual. And he was playing on players like Jeremy Cameron in his first or second game, getting absolutely monstered.
Yeah.
And no wonder. So that would have been very difficult for him, but we're seeing him come in now. He probably should have only been making his debut around now.
Yeah.
So people would be getting their first look at him now and thinking, gee, this is a pretty good young player. So if we can put the past aside and what we've seen unfairly before his time, he was great. And he's another one that Kane mentioned on radio as well. Which I think is big praise. Kane's not very quick to praise West Coast at all.
He doesn't really talk about West Coast often.
For what it's worth, I actually really like him, but I just have to mute him when we're listening to him talking about the Eagles a lot. But no, Rep Bazzo was great. Cooper Duff Tyler too took some big marks behind the footy, took a big contested mark late on in the game too, and I thought that he impacted a lot in the air, which was great.
You talked about Hoffy as well. He did such a good job for the team. I think, obviously, LDU is a pretty good player. I think he did a very good job in torching his impact. And he just had the 2 clearances for the day and less than 200 metres gained, which is really something he praises himself on, and 5 score involvements. And he's one of their most damaging players, obviously.
He's cut us up before too.
Oh, he's cut us up. So, I think, which unfortunately led to Sheasel probably having one of his better games of the year. He had 33 touches and I think 10 score involvements.
He gets here quietly, doesn't he? Like, you don't notice him as much, but he just gets it done over the course of the day. We probably still don't quite have a player like him for our rebuild yet, but I thought Hoffy was great, as you said. And we'll talk about his game a little bit later in comparison to LDU because I had him in my votes for the day. Nice. Liam Baker too probably had his best game for the year. He was the number 1 player on the field rated, which I don't know if he had the output to really justify that, but it felt like every moment he made it count.
Yeah.
Kicked a big goal and just defended like his life depended on it, which is just trademark Bakes. And hopefully he pulls up all right from that injury because he was doing it all with foot concern.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I just love the way he's started to build his season now. I think he's had a good couple of weeks.
That's right.
So I think he's just after the bye, maybe he can reset and we can start to see the base that we saw last season. He was really influential last season. Obviously, we only had the one win, but he was always there. He was always in our best. And he won the John Worsford medal for a reason last season. He was easily the best player for us last year. And yeah, if he just keeps that up, that would be great. And I just want to mention this guy, because we mention this guy all the time. Big boy Job. He probably the biggest talking point of the game. Obviously, unfortunately, he missed that goal at the start. And his aerial presence is freakish.
Yeah.
Absolutely freakish. Everybody's got to remember this guy's 19 years old. I mean, I think I say it every podcast, but yeah, just his ability to shift from forward and he can go down back and take some intercept marks. Like,
we just don't know where to play him.
I don't know where do we play him.
Like it's tough. I said to Rhino before, it'd be great if we could just build his tank up and can he run to the back line when they've got the footy, and then when we turn it over, you see him sprinting back to the forward line.
I like
ready
it.
to take a big pack mark, but genuinely no idea where to play him. I wish we could clone him. Takes it at the highest point and just backs himself in.
That's
like he took a couple of marks he had no business taking. And this is no news to us. So it was really good character, I thought, to see him miss that shot, as you said, then went back, took another big mark and hit that check side, which was a much tougher shot. So yeah, some good character there. And I think that'll just about do us off the top. That's a good little ramble. Let's get into the KPIs, mate. I've got a couple of things here. We can probably go bar for bar almost. Managed to lead a few of the important markers. So we were +6 for inside 50s again, which is a nice trend that's forming. We were +12 last week. So we converted better too, which is the main thing you mentioned. Our accuracy has been costing us. Our conversions per inside 50 has been costing us as well. We went at 46% per inside 50, which is up from 38% last week, which is nice. Still plenty of work to do. I think that most teams aim to be around 50 or above. We led time in forward half too, which has been a big focus, and getting the ascendancy in the territory battle.
As well. And it was nice to actually break even in the contest for a change. Given our youth in midfield we're going to struggle a bit at times.
They're stacked too, aren't they?
They're really stacked in that contested side, and these LDU's huge in that, and Sherry's a massive outlet for them in the ruck. And yeah, if we this centre bounce area, that it's good to see that Baz won like the hitouts individually for the game. I think they had Sherry and they had do you know who else?
Taylor Goad as well. First round from a couple of years ago. He was on debut and he just about had the same amount of hitouts as Baz. So I just about put him in my votes, and I was looking at it a little bit deeper, and I wasn't sold that he had a great day, but as you were sort of alluding to, our centre bounce mix has been dominant, and so it was good to see us remain that way. One glaring negative, though, was the tackle count. -26 with just the 46 tackles to North's 72. So I thought there was too many defensive efforts there that just wasn't quite up to AFL standard. And so that's something that's going to need to be addressed during the bye. Hopefully we see that.
I want to mention as well, like was watching the game and the stats were North Melbourne's pressure was in the 190s for majority of the game, and our pressure was like 168, and we pride ourselves on our pressure game, and I think that was probably one of our weaker performances in our pressure, except in that obviously last quarter when we were dominant inside 50 and we were dominating in that forward half. But if we're not having pressure throughout the entirety of the game, we're going to really struggle. And just our inability to lock balls down in those first 3 quarters. We can't blow out the score and we can't get the win that we needed, obviously.
I think it's just we see the lapse in mindset a little bit too often, still, and that's going to come. We are the youngest side in the AFL with age and games experience. So you expect that. Just on that quickly, I saw Harley Reid. I'm not sure how good everyone is at lip syncing, but I saw on Twitter someone had clipped up Harley Reid giving a spray on field to one of his teammates. I won't mention who, for pulling out of a contest. And I really like to see that.
That's good to see.
It's been a little bit of a frustration of ours for sure. Again, it's easy from the cheap seats where we sit, but to see him having no qualms in voicing his frustrations, I really, really enjoyed that. And I think a lot of the supporters did too. On some more positives, we kicked 38 points from turnover, although I did hear the commentators mention our inability to move the ball from the defensive 50 at times, which was reflected in the stats. But we continue to grow the points from turnover space, 41 points from forward half. So less of the ball movement from D50, but more turning it over in the front half, particularly in that last quarter, which Minnie's been big on. Done that a couple of weeks in a row, which is great. Getting a lot of repeat inside forward 50s in those tense moments late, and the game plan is stacking up when it matters late in the game.
Yeah, and shots at goal as well. I think they were pretty even. I think North have one behind more than us, so that's where you want to be. That means you're in the contest, which is pretty true. And on the champion data really says that North deserve to win. I probably slightly agree. I just think we didn't put them away enough in the third quarter and in the last quarter, obviously. And I think the boys fought back the momentum really well, and we're starting to see that in our games that there's a lot of back and forth sort of contests. So it's good to see that we're finishing games arguably the stronger than our opposition, and we're contesting at the end. So
and they're not going away.
And they're never going away.
Like when the moment that it could have got big on them to start the fourth for sure, and they just kept going. I think Larky might have kicked a goal early, but still dug in. And as we know, Jake Waterman had that shot with 20 odd seconds to go to win the game. So you really can't do much more than that. And I guess that's all we ask for at the end of the day. We are the youngest side for average age and games experience, as I said. So a full four-quarter effort is going to be tough to come by. I think I saw North's fielded 23 had 112 games of average experience to our 74 on the weekend. So they should be miles ahead of us at the moment. But a plus 16-point differential, mate, our way over our two matchups this year suggests otherwise. And I think everyone can see that we're in a great spot. And we're still yet to get out of second gear in this rebuild, which is really, really exciting. They're sort of charging their way up to finals contention, and we're still able to drag them down to our level. And we've been clearly the better side, I think, in the last two times that we've met.
For sure. And this is a good time to, I think, bring us into our MVPs. Obviously, it's tough, obviously, in a loss. Like, who do we pick?
But it was a little bit harder to find votes.
I think the top three, speak for themselves. So I think we'll just roll into that. I think we both had Tim Kelly as our best for the day. I think, he's building his season quite nicely. Ended up with 27, 12 contested possessions, 9 clearances, and 6 score involvements. I think he was easily our best player in that game. And without him, I don't think we win the midfield battle. And he was really clean throughout the whole game and gone back to the levels we know he can get to. So, we're just happy with how Tim Kelly's gone about it the last few weeks.
Yeah, we've needed him to do the work, and he's done it, to his credit. Job Shanahan, as we said before, took out our 4 votes unanimously as well. 8 marks, 5 of those contested, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the way that they actually determine a contested mark now has changed, and it's actually a lot harder to get a contested mark.
Right.
I heard some AFL players talking about that not long ago. So that's big. 3 goals, 2 behinds, obviously, and 3 intercepts when he went behind the ball in spurts as well. So he just did absolutely everything in that second half. I think he had an average of 0 player rating for the first half.
Right.
And then in the second half, he just went absolutely bananas. I'll find it actually because it was a crazy stat. He had 12.1 player rating in the second half.
Whoa.
Which is unheard of almost. He was the second highest Eagle on the field and in the top 8 on the field, and that all came from the second half.
That's mint.
Crazy game, as we know.
Yeah, and this is a good time to go to Jake Waterman, which we've mentioned probably the most throughout this podcast. I think he was really good. Obviously, you can take the goals as they are. I think obviously 3 goals, 3 is probably not where he wants to be, but he got 9 marks and 8 score involvements. As we mentioned earlier, he's leading the score involvements for the comp, and he's tackling as well. He's up forward. He's just been the all-round product. It's just that unfortunately he's just not reaping the rewards of his hard work yet, and he's obviously doing everything else right. Like, just watch the game, watch the way he goes about it, watch the way he leads at the footy, watch the way he turns quickly, watch the way he kicks inside 50. He's doing everything he can possibly to do everything right. It's just that he's just not reaping the rewards of everything else he's doing, and obviously that's what's frustrating him the most because he knows he's doing everything else well. It's just that one talking point that he's just not reaching yet. And once he reaches that, you can just see that Jake Waterman's just going to fire out and probably arguably be the All-Australian forward in the competition. Ben King's got 41 goals
Yeah.
and leading the Coleman, and Jake Waterman's at less than 50%. He's like 41% for his shots. And if he puts more of those shots in, I think he's probably easily winning the Coleman medal at the moment. So
really love to see Nick Larkey after the game too. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, really
but
great
all
sponsorship.
class from the skipper. We know he's a great bloke, obviously, and I thought that was amazing. Our top three was unanimous, mate, but we've gone a different way with the 2 and the 1. We time for a bit of love for our co-skippers. I had Liam Baker in for my 2 votes. 16 disposals and a goal, as we said before. Was our highest rated player on the field. I don't know if that is a glitch in the system because his production wasn't huge, but felt like every contest that he entered, he made it count.
Yeah, and I had Liam Duggan, and I think he was pretty good. I think his kicking was a bit off again, but he was really good defensively, I think. And he had 20 disposals, 75%. The 6 rebounds inside rebound 50s, which is big, and 4 1%ers. That's what we want to see. He's obviously doing the hard yards, which
people will quickly jump on and be like, "Oh, he had 9 turnovers," but we know that's a part of his game, unfortunately. But as you said, I think that the defense, just the intent and the little things, like you can't teach some of the defensive efforts that he had. Yeah, and like without Jinby, we needed that from him.
And you went Brody Hoff with your 1. And I was thinking about putting him in because he did such a good job on LDU. So I just want you to talk about him for a little second.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I like where you went with your 1 vote too. But the 12 disposals and a goal, I think he evened LDU for score involvements just about even for clearances. In fact, he actually had more clearances than LDU.
That's big.
All while keeping LDU out of the game. So he easily won that matchup. He's been doing it all year. Yeah. It's really good to see that transition from being able to lock down on the small forward to now being able to lock down through the midfield. He's starting off a half forward flank and pushing up, and he's hitting the scoreboard, keeping his opponent out of the game, and we love to see it.
Yeah, and I went Rhett Bazzo with my 1. I just wanted to put this guy in because I feel like he's stepped up the past few weeks, and with Jinby going down, I really think he stepped up, and it's just great to see how he's starting to develop now into probably our second key back, with Harry Edwards obviously going down and with his concussion problems. He had 12 disposals, 9 intercepts, 4 of them marks, and 2 score involvements and 2 tackles. Obviously that's low, but he's a key defender, so he's not going to get the score involvements. But just to love the way he's going against his opposition. I think he was lined up on either Trembath or Likely, and I think he did a pretty good job. And he's putting in the hard yards each week. You can see that he really wants to be in the AFL squad, and I think he's probably winning his case and staying in that AFL squad, and I think he's doing a great job this season. So very stoked with him.
Absolutely. That's our votes. We'll put up something on Instagram probably about the leaderboard at the moment, but actually I'll find that right now just before we get into the honourable mentions. Actually, we'll do the honourable mentions first. Yeah. I think I had Marcus Herbert in, 15 touches on debut. He looked at home more and more as the game went on, and that's definitely a tick for our recruiting team.
Yeah, for sure. And Harley Reid as well. Obviously, that massive first quarter was probably influential in him getting the honourable mention. 21 touches, a goal. Obviously tagged out of the game probably late, with Jaisingham doing a pretty damn good job. He obviously struggling with the tags, but it was good to see that first quarter, what he could do against the tag if he keeps developing. And just love the way he went about it all day. Obviously strong in the contest and lifting his teammates to get into the contest, as you mentioned earlier. So showing leadership skills as well on the field. So loving to see how Harley's going about it. And you had Tommy Cole as well.
Tommy Cole, 16 and a goal. Great Jace down tackle as well. Love to see that. He's just playing his role, which is great. And we definitely needed someone to step up in that aspect. Sure. And I don't think anyone thought it would be Tom Cole, but we're loving to see it.
How good is that? And Elijah Hewitt as well. Obviously, first game back from the WAFL, had building some good games on the WAFL. He had 16 and 2 clearances. Yeah. Obviously, his first game back is not going to be incredible. So
had some nice moments with the footy in his hand.
Yeah, really clean, I think, as well. And just
got to give him some time.
Just got to give him some time as well. Like same with Tommy Gross, probably in a similar situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just got to give him some time to build. And
playing a little bit out of position.
Yeah.
It's always going to be tough to come in and impact. And there's some players that are playing some really good footy at the moment. So if we missed anyone, please let us know in the comments. But I think there were some really nice signs of growth in that game. Just on our standings at the moment, Ruben Jinby and Harley Reid neck and neck at the top. Jake Waterman at third, Tim Kelly and Tom McCarthy rounding out the top 5. We've got Dersma in his debut year at 6, with Milan Murdoch as well at 7. Job Shanahan, Bailey Williams and Elliot Yeo rounding out the top 10. So some really nice a nice blend of experience and youth there.
Yeah.
Probably would have liked to have seen a few more of our leaders up the top, but it is great to see the young guys flying the flag for the club and hopefully rewarded on best and fairest night. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, and obviously going into the bye, we're not going to have any changes for this week. So yeah, it's just good to see as well. We mentioned it earlier. I think the WAFL side won another game as well, which is great to see. And Big Rhino, this guy, calling Drew to be moved down forward, and you're starting to see the impact that he's having down there, playing in the role he's supposed to be playing. And I just want to, we're going to mention them bar for bar, these guys who had good performances in the WAFL this week. And obviously Tyler Drew, we started with early, 4 goals, 10 disposals. Could easily be seeing him coming into the AFL side with our small forwards struggling for impact this season. And
he's contracted through to 2028 or something. So like he is
they like him as a proctor. Yeah.
Project. So hopefully we see him playing some footy soon.
Yeah.
Finn McRae, 25 touches, 5 tackles, just continues to press his case. So credit to him. He's not really putting a foot wrong in the WAFL with production. I don't think either of us watched the game, so we can't attest to how well they use the footy, but good to see some good numbers there.
Yep, Jack Williams as well, 23 touches, 3 goals, 3 behinds. Could have been a huge day for Jay Will.
Huge day.
That is a big day at the office. I mean, that could have been 6 goals, 23 touches if you think about it. That's huge. And yeah, just loving to see Jack Williams. Obviously, I think he was pretty hard done by, obviously, with Cooper Duff Tyler coming in, but you had to do it. Cooper Duff Tyler is a huge prospect for us in the future. And yeah, Jay Will's just going about it the absolute right way. He's taking on the contest and he's doing a beastly job up at the WAFL. And who knows, that guy could probably get a contract somewhere else pretty easily in the AFL because his production's huge. I think that's the most
likely outcome.
Yeah.
For sure, unfortunately. But we'll track that closely as we go. I think Cooper Duff Tyler did enough to sort of push his case for why he was selected. We know obviously what a star he's going to be, and it's only year 1. So we're seeing that only the tip of the iceberg with Cooper Duff Tyler, but great from Jack Williams. He can't do much more to press his case. Luca Grego, 23 and a goal. Hoping he can sort of recapture last year's form a little bit. He has been a little bit more quiet this season, but he looked amazing in his first year in the WAFL and came in and had a pretty solid debut in the last game of the year as well. So hopefully we see this trend continue after the mid-season bye.
Yeah, and this guy Fred Rodriguez, who we got in the draft last season, I think he's starting to build quite nicely. Obviously, after a long stint on the sidelines with injury, he had 21 touches, 17 with kicks, which was great to see. Playing in that wing role as well. It's great to see Fred's finding the footy as well. Playing wing is pretty huge, getting that many amount of touches as well. And obviously with Hamish Davis going down, who knows? This guy could be maybe pushing his case for that wing role at the AFL side. So
we do think Durs will probably be back, but he's knocking on the door, isn't he?
For sure.
He uses it well off both feet.
Yeah.
Silk, hard at it. This is a guy who was projected to go pretty high in the draft before slipping all the way out to pick one in the rookie draft. So there's a lot of upside there with Fred if he can put it all together. And as you said before, it's really tough to come into a footy club as an 18-year-old and have to sit on the sidelines and be in the rehab group. You don't really get to make an impression on the group or hit the ground running. So he's been great so far. He's building into a nice WAFL season, which is awesome to see. Your boy, Ali Franco, how did he go?
I love the way he goes about it. He had 19 and 9 tackles. Just his presence is just great to see, his contest work. And he's building nicely. Obviously came over from the Sandfeld and was averaging ridiculous numbers over there. So he's just slowly starting to build. And
bit of a different game over here, isn't it?
Different game, different system, different ideologies from coaches. It's just a different game. And he's just starting to consistently build good performances, just absolute beast in the tackles. He's a bit of like a younger Jack Graham, but with a bit more pace. So
that's a really nice prospect. Speaking of Jack Graham, he's hopefully not too far away.
Yeah.
Malachi Champion, my boy, 13 touches and a goal. First WAFL game in a while, which is it's a shame to see him back there, but he's prone to a quiet day. I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. Good to see him hitting the scoreboard. If you called the game, please feel free to let us know who impressed you in the comments.
Yep.
Do we have anything else, Rhino?
I think that's it for this week, mate. I think we covered everything we needed to cover. Obviously, a loss we're not going to talk about too much.
It is tough. The listens they are down after a tough loss. People find it harder to get into the content. Our Spotify, Apple Podcast faithful stick with us through the thick and thin, but those that are a little bit newer to us on YouTube, they sort of get to pick and choose a little bit more often, but I think that'll do us. We're all footied out.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the buy as well. And
be a good buy.
keep an eye on the socials as our trade and draft content is going to start heating up, mate. We did 10 million views on Instagram last year
Love it.
during the trade period. So I absolutely can't wait to see how it unfolds this time around. The draft is like our grand final too. We love following the draft, covering it. We're looking forward to covering it podcast form and in the short form over on Instagram. So make sure you're following us at Golden Wings Podcast for all of the updates over there. We just dropped one around some of our father-son prospects and our NGA prospects as well, tearing it up for WA. Lockie McGlade and Harper Banfield had a bit of a day out, which was great to see. But we'll keep you updated as well on next week's podcast. Be nice to get a bit of a stock take, do some list management, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be away, so we'll just see how we go. But thank you for joining us again this week. Rhino, fresh off the plane back from Adelaide.
Thanks, mate.
It's been a massive weekend for you. Get home and get some sleep.
I will.
Thank you for joining us again as well, all our listeners. We appreciate your company, and we'll see you after the bye at some stage. Have a good little break from the footy, and hope you all have a great week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week. Thanks for listening, guys, for another episode of the Golden Wings podcast. Take a moment to please subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow along on our Spotify and Apple podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating. And please make sure, if you want to keep up with the news throughout the week, follow us on Instagram at Golden Wings Podcast. Kurt does a great job. And most importantly, if you have a friend or family member who loves the West Coast Eagles, please tell them to put in a good word for our podcast. We'd much appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.